Hello, everybody. I hope that you are doing fantastic, in my own personal opinion, because it's been quite dusty around here. So we got the broom sweep things up, and zero to hero, as I'd like to personally say, is what we are here to work with. Right now, it seems that we are back within League Zero. Hope you guys didn't miss us for that very long intro. We've got Chicago Chimps versus Flop Riders for the Zero to Hero type tournament in a sense. You know, Blizzard can't take that off of us. I'll be your play-by-play casters tonight, username underscore Intel, not Joe Razor, and here joined by Mr. Peripheral. Peripheral, how are you doing?
Pretty good. It's good to be back. It's been a while. So yeah, I'm excited to, see some very competent, very good teams go up against each other, in what's hopefully going to be a nice little tournament.
I definitely agree. Because it's going to be very interesting. We've got some diverse SRs going on in here, especially because a lot of these teams, if you didn't know, for the people who are just kind of tuning in, are required to be having veterans in, meaning that they have to have players who have been within a League Zero season and then they have come in. So it's going to be really interesting to see who we recognize from these games, because from Chicago Chimps, obviously, I can recognize Flawless, Kataguro, Gundam. These are players that I've definitely seen before, while on Flop Riders have had some very, I guess you could say, League Zero historians as QZY, Juicebox, Frozen. It's been, a blast seeing them play, so to see them come back and work as a unit, it's going to be pretty scary, but at least they're not going up against a team that's 4.7 average,
True. Well, I also think part of it is this is a more informal setting, so we may see sort of different looks from these players than we're used to some degree, and I think that's going to add a little more. That's going to add a different aspect to it.
I definitely agree to that idea. It's going to change how these players pay more attention to what they're going off on, because more than anything, it's all kind of in an average area. Everyone's around that 3K kind of area. So I would more consider this a kind of diamond pre-made tournament than anything. But still, it is going to be completely terrifying. At least we are starting on Lijiang Tower, a good map for our first starter. This is what people are kind of known for.
Yeah, it's Lijiang. It's the quintessential first map, the control map. I'm pretty sure, at least from season 4, most of the map ones over the course of the season were on Lijiang. So yeah, I mean, like I said, more informal setting. So it'll be interesting to see whether these teams stick to the typical, the Sim Doom, Sim Junk, Sim May brawl compositions, or they decide to have fun and try something else entirely.
Well, it's definitely quite possible. There's no real like victory that you could truly get besides from just being able to ego people and having this disparity of SRs. Not everybody on their team is going to be the same thing. So, it's actually interesting to see the Wrecking Ball composition instead of what you were kind of more referring to, the teleporting strategy, as we're seeing on the other side from the Chimpanzees.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a decent bit of we're seeing a big variety in comps. I mean, a pause will be called already. A good way to start off the tournament. But yeah, just looking over these comps, I'm seeing on the side of Flop Riders, there's a Ball Diva comp, which I quite like that on this point because it enables you to play the Pharah here. It enables you to play a hybrid of the poke and dive styles, which kind of that comp really excels at. But why is Monty calling me out in chat? What is this?
We don't need to worry about these fools. Monty hasn't been doing anything. Pretty sure was banned for a good while. So, yeah, no, it's going to be more of an interesting thing to see how they try to squeeze him in rather than squeeze him out.
Oh wait, did I pause? Wait, no. Okay.
No, Peripheral, you are not the host. No, no,
I'm
no.
being gaslit. This is...
That's what they do. For one of the first times within League Zero history, we are actually having the players hosted. So, it's not our fault when things happen. It's more of theirs. And that's... Actually, it's a good thing that stream can't hear, because I'm the fact checker when it comes to here.
Okay. Chat's going off the rails a little bit, I will not lie. But
Don't doubt they can see.
I'm gonna I will be ignoring this. Yeah. On the other side, yeah, Chicago Chimpanzees are going to be are they're just running the tried and true brawl comp, the Lucio Bap, the Ryan Diva, that sort of thing. Basically, you know, I think a lot of the people here that are watching this are gonna know what that comp does. Basically, just run at the other team with a sim TP. You get on point early and just sit there. And yeah, it's basically I like this comp matchup because it's basically a conflict. It's two conflicting philosophies where one team just aims to run at the other, and the other team is looking to basically divert the other team's attention, split up their resources, basically give them too many things to shoot at, so they can't shoot at anything.
I can definitely agree. More of how this fight is going to be going down is momentum, seeing who goes first and who tries to react. Going on to the point, we see the Chimpanzees really with nothing too much to worry about, as well as the Wrecking Ball competition is for splitting the attention. They're not really being able to have any focus out, especially when the Chimpanzees, Chicago, they are looking around. The moment the Wrecking Ball comes in, slams down, Frozen's able to find out Flawless, so that's the first pick and a major one onto the Symmetra. Immortality is able to keep them up while trading it onto the Tracer. Unfortunately, they aren't going to be able to win this fight quick enough to be able to capture that point, so it is going in favor of Chicago. But you build up that barrage, you take out the Doomfist. Frozen still gets traded, though, which is not what you're looking for. Luckily, you have the Mercy, you res it up. Now you're going to be able to come back into this fight against the window. It's not over yet, as Flawless quickly falls out. The Reinhardt wanting to try and take the Pharah in the 1v1, but Juicebox is going to be traded. Luckily, though, it just seems the Chimpanzees aren't going to be able to contest long enough. They are slowly collapsing under themselves, not being able to focus anybody out. And unfortunately, they aren't going to be able to contest this point for any longer.
Yeah, I mean, that fight, it didn't start off too badly for the Chimpanzees. Obviously, they did get that early pick, but Frozen did have the early pick on the Pharah to even it out, which, I mean, the Pharah here just does so much work because you can shoot at the other team without them really being able to do anything about it. And over time, against this brawl comp, that's just going to wear down their resources and eventually create openings for your ball, for your Tracer to get picks, and that's kind of what we saw happen.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Juicebox is the one who wants to contest the point for as long as possible, as kind of you were more saying, so it's interesting to see as they bait out the Immortality. The bomb is there solely to play against it, and they even kill QZY. It's in a very dangerous and unresable position as we see the Mercy want to try and take out the Baptiste, being punished. Nonetheless, that's not going to be looking too good. That fight's over before we even knew it.
Yeah, I mean, I think QZY got a little overzealous without the opening for his team to really get value out of that fight, to really commit. And then as a direct result of that, he just got hard punished, and then then the Chimpanzees were able to rally around that. And now we see Nacht is just, he's in a little bit of a sneaky position, maybe looking for a boop, maybe looking to just get ahead of the rest of his team.
Yeah, they're more or less trying to prepare for the fight. We see the bomb come out, combined with the overinvested barrage. They really just want to make the Chimpanzees understand what's happening. It's a free team kill, but they had to use a lot of resources for it.
Yeah, I mean, when push comes to shove at that point, like, that's probably last fight, since they're at 89%. You probably just want to take the point by whatever means necessary. And yeah, that time, I really like how the flop riders, they played around QZ's slam, or QZY's slam, on the Wrecking Ball as a way to open up the fight and create opportunities. And now we're seeing that again. QZY gets an early pick.
It's a really good early pick, but it's not helping them when Juicebox is gone and the point's been flipped, meaning that it's really not in their favor anymore. But the sound barrier has to be used so they can find any room to push forward. They did get the Hanzo, so that helps, but Flop Riders, they get hit with the Shatter. QZY feels like a beta, it's just not working out in the favor. And even that res in front of the Reinhardt, trying to just find any form of room. I've got a lot of questions, and I guess we'll just have to see how it works in point 2, because as much as Juicebox wants to be able to touch, we ain't in Italy, and they lost that war. We'll have to see what happens in the second point of Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that ball comp, the main issue I have with it on this point is that it's horrible to retake with. Because like as much as you can just play around the windows that you're given to shoot at the other team, it doesn't really matter if they can just walk out of the sight line, just say, no, I don't think I will be taking this damage, and they can just outlast you indefinitely, which is kind of what Chicago Chimpanzees did, and they were able to do so very effectively, leading to them ultimately winning the point.
It also was just more of Flop not really playing the composition to its full strength. Juicebox spending a lot of time more losing their mech. On the bright side, we aren't going to be seeing that mirror once again. More than anything, it's going to be more of the ball. It's going to be the complete mirror out into the server room. Whoever gets the first pick is going to be looting the momentum, and it seems that Doomfist Haru is going to be punished by Gundam, has no room to be able to do anything. So as we see QZY do his best, try to make any room, is stuck, being forced out, and is isolated. Nobody's going to be able to help you there, so the rest of Flops, well, they just got to escape. They have no room on this point anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Regro got kind of disconnected initially, but Gundam making full work of that, making very good use of that Doomfist, just able to punch in, get a really nice pick that sets up the rest of his team very, very well. And now we're gonna see the Flop Riders, they're opting out of this brawl matchup entirely. They don't want to take the fight. For whatever reason, we won't know. But now they're playing the ball comp.
I'm more impressed that Mitch immediately recognized it, so that's good player sense to be pressing tab to know what you're doing. And the wrecking ball competition isn't really bad, it's just unseen on this point. The window comes out trying to just be able to pump in a little more DPS, but Mr. Mitch falls down. Luckily, it's the Lucio. They'll be coming back very quickly, and you even almost find out Haru, who was dangerously low. You get QZY instead. Chrome getting shot in the air. The Doomfist is finding so much trouble getting any type of value, and they even managed to find QZY in the res. That's highly impressive as they collapse on top of the Chicago. There really isn't much that they could do as they look for a target to find.
I love how Mani's Noct is just wall riding the whole time. I don't think I've seen him touch the ground once this round, but even so, like, Chicago's Flop Riders were struggling to clean up the point, but off the back of Haruhiro getting 3 kills with the Mercy Pocket, they eventually do it, and I think the poke component of this comp that we're seeing now, with the Mercy and the Farah Mercy and the Soldier with the Mercy Pocket, makes it really hard for Chicago to play this game, because they're just going to get poked down, surrounded, and eventually they're just going to get outlasted, especially with them not really being able to, you know, run at anyone.
Definitely can agree to that point. We see the bomb come wanting to bait Flawless, unable to kill Juicebox beforehand. That's a really big ultimate to use so early, and it seems that Chimpanzees really just don't care. Just looking to try and cap the point, give more time in their bank. While Juicebox is dangerously low, the visor finally gets used from Haru, able to build it up quickly, takes 2, the bomb, splitting them up. They're not going to be able to peek, but look at this beautiful barrage, focus, and soloed onto Gundam. Frozen may fall, but there is no room for them to be able to bring this back, unless Flawless decides to get another 2K. Reinhardt immediately comes back in too, which stops the res entirely, and that's more of a bad management. Even if we see QZY wanting to stall a little bit more on the point, this is not in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, they started that fight off so well, like with the Blizzard, or not the Blizzard, the visor from Haruhiro with the Mercy Pocket, but ultimately QZ got solo shattered there, and that was kind of the beginning of the end for them. As once you have that isolated target that you can actually like brawl, like you can just utilize your brawl comp strengths and just run at them, then it becomes much harder for the other team to play the game. And now we're gonna see QZ going on Gundam. Gundam's gotten a bit split here, but they'll probably live.
No, Gundam's perfectly fine. They're on the Cassidy, meaning they have the stun and they have a lot of secure ability. More than what we see is kind of just a attempt of forcing out the fight. The Coalescence looking to put that pressure onto Juicebox. The forced demech. Now they have to touch the point, being at 93%. The fight's on the edge. Poor Juicebox being pooped off by Mr. Mitch. You're not going to be having anything as Rigro immediately takes out QZY. The bomb going up high, landing down. Doesn't manage to find anybody, but there's really nobody left on the side of Flops to try and contest. QZY even getting hit with the shatter, meaning there is nobody left to touch that point, and we are going to be seeing the Chicago Chimps manage to take the first map on Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, I just want to point out, I only saw Regrow shattering QZ, or QZY, which, I mean, unlucky, but you gotta use it sometime, and the ball's as good a target as any to use that ult on, especially because it just hamstrings the entire comp, at least the way that the Flop Riders wanted to play it. But yeah, I think a lot of that just came down to the decisions in the mid-fight. Aplom getting a bit overzealous with the reses, as well as the mid-fight ult usage, primarily from Flawless, from Regrow, as I mentioned earlier. And overall, I think Chicago just played a more complete game, which ultimately led to them taking the map.
More than anything, I would also call it just a tad bit, throwing your hat into a pool and you can't swim, so you try to get it. Basically, they're drowning, as I think Flop Riders looked like they were just memeing. A lot of bad decisions when these players, well, not all, but at least a good some of them are very talented.
Yeah, again, that more informal environment definitely lends itself to making decisions like that, just like, hey, we might as well have some fun. It's not like there's any cloud on the line. And yeah, the overall, I think a lot of those factors are making it seem like Chicago Chimpanzees, while on paper they're a very good team in their own right, they look distinctly better than Flop Riders, which I think kind of belies the fact that Flop Riders are a very good team in their own right. They have very good individual talent, as you said. The likes of Frozen, Aplom, and Nacht, all really talented players.
Name maybe one person that truly isn't that good, but that's just me throwing some salt on the wounds of my friends. Either way, Eigenwald is going to be our next map, which, hey, I really like Eigenwald for the next point. I definitely feel this works for the Wrecking Ball strategy, but I think Chicago Chimps, they're really not going to be having too much to worry about. Any style that they want to play still works.
Yeah, Ike is definitely a more versatile map in terms of what you can play. Like you said, the first point definitely on defense it favors double shield, but you can also run brawl. On the flip side, for the attackers, 6-man brawl, even ball comps are quite viable. I think obviously brawl is probably the superior matchup for that point, but there's a variety of there's a variety of comps that are viable, especially on those first and second points. So it'll be interesting to see if Flop Riders in particular, if they want to stick to the same composition, or if they want to adapt, try something else, maybe play a double shield comp so as to retain the poke aspect of the ball comp, but also, they weren't finding that much success on the ball comp, which was in part due to Lijiang not being a very good map for ball comps, but also it just being a different comp, a different style as to how you want to play. Just in general, more just keeping the same fundamentals but executing differently, I think.
Yeah, I will differ with that because I think Lijiang Tower is one of those better maps of control, especially for the Wrecking Ball strategy. It's just that one specific server room that debatably isn't too strong, but teams have definitely run onto it, and some places even benefit off of it, which is more of an interesting fact. I think it's just the way you execute it, trying to work together, and going onto a map like Eigenwald, that's going to be the most important thing that we're going to be seeing, which I definitely feel is gonna be the bigger problem. Just because Eichenwald and most escort / hybrid maps are very momentum based, I definitely would say, which is why debatably you can see some teams who win off control immediately come in and start to lower down because they're not bringing in the momentum of their win. Nobody really takes control that seriously, but rather the team who loses, they're starting to build up that momentum, and after they get it, they just continue forward and kind of bring back the series.
Yeah, very well said. I do think momentum is a very big factor in any series. I've had first-hand experience with this myself. I'm referring to League Zero Season 4. Anyway, yeah. I was gonna say it'll be interesting to see how Flop Riders adapt, and they do seem to be certainly doing that. Running Hog. Okay, I was gonna say they were running Hog Diva, which I saw this composition in Bad Pachimari League when I was casting there. Basically, it was just you play it like it's ranked, but now they're gonna be moving on to a double bubble, and on the other side, um, Chicago Chimpanzees running what I like to call Mickey Mouse Brawl, sort of a brawl tank line and then poke DPS, which it's it's a composition, that much is for sure.
Yeah, I really like the Bastion strategy. I always felt it works to great degrees. It's just not everybody respects the Bastion, so that's how you make an immediate enemy. And especially on this double bubble, there's really nothing they can do against this high spam slash mid-tier kind of mobility composition. Look, QZY is already taking a lot of damage. That bubble was used solely so they can just split and rotate. Even with QZY reaching the corner, Flawless is uncontested, freely shooting at them. Juicebox is split off from the team. They have no idea where they want to go, and it's only becoming a bigger problem. Even if the DPSs are able to take these flank areas, what are they really getting off besides from a late fight? However, they are now set up, still taking a lot of damage. They built the nano, and, well, that's what happens when you ego.
My god. I just see Ape Plum, he's on the high ground, like, next to the first point. my first thought was like, how did he get there and why is he there? Because Aplom does seem to be doing a little trolling, but I think overall, I feel like someone's got to make something happen there in order to break this Bastion brawl, this Bastion comp out of its, like, just sort of disrupt, just create something. But I mean, now we're gonna see more action happening as an actual fight's finally commencing.
Raj able to take out two, however, they have left themselves open. They need that Bastion to stay there, especially with the Pharah. So as the Reds comes out, that's gonna just barely save them before anything could have became an issue.
Yeah, I mean, the ult investments from Flop Riders there were pretty solid. I mean, they definitely... The nano engage onto the Bastion, it's a good idea in theory, but the problem is that they were running a Brawl tank line, and... now the Bastion's gone, so maybe the points opened up a little bit here.
Not able to protect. We see the blade from Frozen come out on top of the high ground while the bomb tries to force. It just seems this is a very split mix. Girl able to find out Frozen, so that's the bright side. However, we still see QZY looking to focus anybody out. They managed to get the take just barely, while the heal from the Valkyries being able to sustain, allowing Regro to come back is going to be a huge factor, especially with Flawless helping out. Even losing just two people, I don't think that's really going to be too much of an issue, because the Zenyatta has to use that Transcendence just to escape.
I mean, Aplom's playing a different game right now. He's in the other team's backline. I don't think he knows which team he's on, but at the moment, but it's not going to matter. Zoro with a really nice pick. That's just going to sort of... This kind of just summarizes Flop Rider's offense thus far. They haven't really been able to make anything happen without, like, forcing significant ult, making crazy plays, or without using significant ult, rather. And at some point, you're starting to think, like, maybe it's time to switch things up.
Well, if I've learned anything about KZY, he's stubborn. However, not the rest of the team aren't really kind of thick enough to defeat, as Flawless manages to take out the Brigitte. Now you've lost one, you have 20 seconds left, the Pulse Bomb lands onto Zoro, so that's the bright side. However, it does not matter when the res comes in. It's now a 6v5. Once again, QZY dangerously low in enemy territory. They notice, and now they peek. The bomb goes mid-air, but the Dragons forcefully split down. The Shatter lands, hits QZY, and they aren't even able to touch. That's what I call a bronze move. As we just see, Chicago Chimpanzees, they're really not having to care about anything. This is more of a freebie.
Yeah, I mean, can I just shout out, like, I just want to shout out Katagiri and Chromed there. Like, well, someone went down, I forgot who, but Chromed and Kara instantly peeling because they know Haruhiro's in their backline, and like that level of cohesion, that level of urgency, that instant response, I think is benefiting them greatly. Has enabled them also to turn these losing fights where they're just able to make those split-second decisions, and that's benefiting them greatly. Especially we saw in that fight where the blade was invested, where it looked like they were gonna lose, and all like the bomb from Katagiri makes a ton of space, and it ultimately it just wins them the fight, well, the bomb doesn't win them the fight, but it enables them to win the fight by making space, forcing out cooldowns, and yeah, I mean, the rapid decision making from Chicago Chimpanzees has, I think, enabled them to just come back from some of these fights in a very prompt and a very effective way. And now we're gonna see Flop Riders. They're committing to the ranked composition. QC's in a bit of a creative position, I won't lie, but we'll see if it works. On the other hand, this comp that Chicago's running is actually really interesting. The ball Zarya, it plays more off of the ball than I think some other comps do, especially with the Zarya just playing super hard off of the Wrecking Ball's pile driver, and just aiming to create opportunities with that, especially with the bubble to help him get in and out.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised. Frozen able to take out Flawless. The hook kills off the Zenyatta, and that's what we like to call the pinch here in the company, as they weren't able to realize that there was a Roadhog behind. Everyone else just collapses. Now they just feel a little goofy.
Yeah, I mean, QZ's pulling out the rank strats, and you can't fault him for that. But
it's basically how Roadhog should be playing regardless.
True. Case in point, Season 3 Grand Finals. Actually, we don't talk about that because hog meta, but Katagiri making him pay for it. And now, I mean...
They need to now touch the point. They lose out the Lucio, they lose out the Hog. We see the D.Va touching at the last second. However, Flawless does get melted. It's just not enough, though. You don't really need a Widowmaker for this fight. The Brawl's just walking all over you. Feel more bad for Haru. Just not going to be finding anything to help the team. So once again, Chicago Chimps bring us to match point.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was over once we heard the round 1 complete voice line, because a full hold for any team is really just not... It's just not great for your mental, not great in general, and the challenge for them, for Flop Riders, was how could they recover from that? How could they really just adapt? How could they try and salvage something? Well, they couldn't draw, but I don't think they really tried to. You could see with the Hog D.Va, they just wanted to have some fun, do a little trolling, as we say, on Twitter and in the ranked timeline, or in ranked and on the Twitter timeline. There we go. And English is hard, but anyway, yeah. Now it's match point. So will we see a reverse sweep? Will it just be a quick 3-0? We'll see. All right.
Yeah.
Well.
You thinking peripheral?
I'm not sure.
Well, you don't really need to worry. These teams are at a good moment just to refuel, take a second to breathe, and more, kind of figure out what they want to do. Our next map is going to be Escort, so if you want to see what that's going to be, this is most likely going to be a very short break. These players are relentless, but we will be back after a quick break. Welcome. Oh, well, I gotta make sure you guys heard me. Sometimes I never know that point to where the microphone kind of cuts back in. And, either way, welcome back to League 00 to Hero. As, we're gonna be seeing how these teams work onto Rialto. But I had to say that a little more questioning because we haven't been seeing one team truly go off as hard as they want to. More than anything, it's been more questionable. And even now, we see Frozen going on to the tank, ruining the organization that we try to have here.
Regro just expressing his subs did not wait. Regro just expressing his intense hatred for the rat immensely. Right off the bat. Also, yeah, some role swaps do seem to be coming through. As well as, yeah, just role swaps, it seems like. Oh, I believe that was Gundam that left. Or, yeah. No, Gundam's here. Kata's in spec.
I'm not too surprised. Both of these teams are, in the wise words of me champing my lips, very dumb. In the sense of having that Wi-Fi connection stability. I've never seen an Overwatch player be good and have consistent Wi-Fi. That's only tier 3,
True.
you know?
Or go outside. It can only be one of the three.
Listen, anyone who's good at Overwatch has retired, and that's at least my firm belief. I don't know what the Overwatch League is, so seeing this,
the Overwatch League doesn't exist. It's a psyop.
Seeing Frozen onto the onto the tank line, though, and yeah, they are on completely different strategies, which is even the best part. Gundam goes out, manages to freely get the hook. Now they brawl onto the Roadhog, but a free escape. They even manage to take out Frozen, the Reinhardt, who has QZY healing consistently. There is nothing but tomfoolery in this game.
There's a high ground Roadhog. Frozen just goes in right off the bat. And yeah, I don't think either team is really trying, like, to the fullest extent. As you can see by Frozen, just Alpha Chad charge coming out from him. On the other hand, Regro and, well, the Chimpanzees playing haha funny hog and ball comp, haha funny pun sex thing. But yeah, anyway, the Widow Brawl from the Flop Rider is not looking too good for her hero, as Regro is coming.
It's just not benefiting them, as there's just no opportunity they have to move forward. Well, not even that they don't have an opportunity to move forward, it's just that they're not really working as a unit, and more than anything, that's costing them room to push forward. For example, QZ, why are you trying to fight Flawless? And Flawless, why are you trying to fight Haru? They're a Widowmaker.
I mean, yeah, this is a bit of a clown fiesta at this point, but you know what? We love to see it. After all, this is a for fun tournament in a volunteer-run league, so...
this isn't for fun. This is pure hard!
This is the Overwatch League, yes. Yeah,
I mean,
very, very professional, of course. Anyway, Gundam gets a pick. I mean, is there really any point in casting this absolute...
Oh, there is always a point, because you don't understand. QCY got the window. He's gonna be bringing out that 6 hour. The EMP shuts down 2. The visor combination walks forward, and I mean, this is just the trap. This is the false sense of security that they moved them into. Already finding out too. Brings the window. Gundam, how are you gonna escape, my big man? You're a Roadhog. You're not gonna... This is why you listen to me. This is why you don't understand, and this is how the Flops are going to bring it back. They're going to find the majority of Chicago, and now they have a chance to be able to cap the point.
Flop Riders they're going huge. They've awoken. The anime redemption arc begins here. QZ's on they're playing Bab Lucio with a ball comp, which might just be the best backline I've ever seen in Overwatch history. This is absolutely incredible. These players' brains are too big. Even I don't understand what's going on. And
unfortunately enough,
there it is. Aplom again. Gods of Sombra. Better than Hisu. Better than Lip.
unfortunately not gonna have any room. Even though they had a chance to start bringing things back, it just seems that they aren't really able to play the game the way they want to, or rather they refuse to.
Yeah, these guys, Aplum gave us a little taste. Now these guys are playing a different game entirely, and, well, there's 30 seconds left and they still haven't captured first, so maybe they're playing the wrong game. Maybe they gotta start playing Valorant.
I don't even think they're gonna. Well, they do have a chance to touch the point. We see them take out Gundam, and while the Tracer is being very rude to Juicebox, they need a chance to bring in a team fight. The rally goes in, they're just walking forward. There's really not much you could do against it unless you're directly killing somebody, and even then, it's just not enough. As we see Chicago, don't stop the touch. Sombra's able to just barely touch, now AD strafing as if they're in CSGO. The mines are on the point. Combined with the Transcendence, it's a little rude, but hey, it works.
I mean, yeah, it's... Yeah, it's... Both teams are kind of... They're just in it to have fun at this point. Obviously, well, now a bit of a role reversal, as we did see initially, the Brawl comp from Flop Riders and the Ball comp on the side of... What's their name? The NFT team. Chicago Chimpanzees. Hey, listen, it's their... That's their branding. I didn't make it. But anyway, yeah, it's... We will see if the Flop Riders actually, you know, try and rescue this. Potentially attempt the reverse sweep, maybe just try and take a map for funnies. Or whether, you know, they just continue to troll and just end the series, get it over with. Oh, there's double Elam, I forgot.
Yeah. They just want the losers bracket. It's gonna be easier. I think you're definitely more focused on not letting yourself win. If you win, you're more than likely gonna be going up against a team who's 4.7.
There's a 4. Wait.
That's
no, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm kind of messing with you. But the 4K team, I think that's really what they're avoiding, and that's almost a smart strat.
Honestly, I would fear One Trick Suns, the team full of plat players and then a contenders champion. That's the best team in this league, in my opinion. Okay, Chrome seems to be making... Okay, never mind. I was gonna say Chrome seems to be making friends, but now he's dead. Noxed and Frozen were not very interested in the prospect of friendship.
They get the free charge out. They're able to take that fight pretty fairly, more of just because Gundam went for the meme charge. However, they have the respawn, so every pick that they get is still more advantageous. And the moment that Gundam started to type
MTD,
the charge just comes out, and there's really not much that you have to worry about. They just get away with it freely. It's a very messy fight more than anything, and we even see the Zenyatta Frozen trying to move back. They have some room, but they don't really have much as when it comes to the dive. It's a really big problem as they slowly collapse down, and... Wait, I was removed from the custom game.
Okay, my turn to cast. Yeah, we're just gonna see both teams kind of fighting on cart. Nox got in a bit split. He's going for the Alpha Chad charge, but he won't be able to find anything. Gundam takes him out in swift order. Juicebox now just sitting on this high ground, trying to just stay alive in the hopes of recontesting cart, but he does so, gets slept immediately. He does get out though, so maybe recontest potential. Although, okay. Frozen's...
Yep, not much. The Nano comes in. They're able to move forward without too much care. Juicebox is able to stay on the point, being the true one to contest. However, there's still 2-3 alive, and there's not much that you can really do against it. QZY able to find out that pick while there is a Symmetra on the point. This point is getting very close to touch. That bomb goes very far out. You have to be paying attention to that. Lucio gets slept and shattered, so that's a little bit more of bullying. Flawless does have the blade, looking to pop it out, is more focusing down onto QZY as we see them try to do their best. It's just not enough. This is the end as we see Chicago Chimps, they take the victory.
Yeah, I mean... That third map devolved a little bit into just abject chaos, but throughout it all, Chicago Chimpanzees, they did look the vastly superior team. Whether that was by virtue of trolling a little less, or, you know, however they got there, they eventually got there in the end, and now the flop writers, we'll see if they continue to aim to have as much fun as they were having down in the lower bracket, or if they're actually going to turn the jets on, and and aim to have that season 2 shock-esque lower bracket run. Don't lose a map, run it back, and ultimately win it all. Obviously, we will see if they have. We don't know that they'll have the same success, but theoretically.
I definitely see what you mean, but it is upsetting to see a team with such well-known people lose that quickly. So it's just not going to be looking too great. Chicago Chimps, though, they're at least going to be working more into that victory category. So we'll just have to see what works out. But Peripheral, do you have any lasting comments?
I mean, other than that, Chicago Chimps look really good. Nothing in particular. Although I will say, shout out to Frozen. That guy is crazy good at this game. And it shows. Like even in losing fights, Frozen was consistently getting picks. Like even on Lijiang, you could see it right away. The guy was getting early and late picks throughout the fight. It was the value that guy gets on Pharah is pretty crazy.
I definitely, I can agree to that. But if you are still interested with everything that's going on, I'd recommend you check out the Twitter, because the League Zero Twitter is going to make sure that you stay up to date with absolutely everything. There's still more matches that are going on, so it's going to be quite interesting to see what scales, what rankings. You can always show the Discord to get direct access to see everything that's happening. Either way, I want to thank you, Peripheral, for joining me in the booth. Same with Mr. Aggrinator, as he sits hunched over in his terribly lit room with the green screen behind him, broadcasting this match for you to be able to enjoy. Can't wait to see you next time when it comes to Zero to Hero. We are out.